I'm going to be doing question number 5 on page 127 of section 3.2. The question is, determine between which consecutive integers the zeros of the radical functions occur. Answer in the form a less than x, which is less than b. So, the first thing we need to do is determine which x values to use. We do this by finding the domain. So the domain is whatever is inside the function, which is represented by the square root sign, but we don't need to include that when we're finding domain. All greater than or equal to 0, because you can't have a negative inside of a root. So when we solve this inequality, we get x greater than or equal to negative 5. So we know that our points are going to have to be, we can choose negative 5, obviously, and what we're wanting to do is find a point where the positive y's and the negative y's, I guess, between those 2 points, where that is. So we need to pick points. I've already done this before, and I know that -4, -3, and all those numbers don't cause a change in y, so I'm going to make this -2. But if you're doing this on your own, you might want to try -4, -3 as well. Okay, -2, 1, and 2 and 3, just to save a little bit of time. Okay, so now all we have to do is just put them into this formula. So -5 plus 5 is 0, the square root of 0 is 0, minus -5, so that would be 5. I've already worked all these out before, so -2 plus 5, the square root of that, plus 2 is 4.4. So I'm just going to write down the numbers, 4.4. It's all the same for everyone. 1 plus 5, 6, root 6 minus 1 is equal to 1.45. Sorry, this was supposed to be -3. -3 is equal to 4.4. 1 is equal to 1.45. 2 is equal to 0.65. So already we can see as we go up from -5, we're getting closer to 0 in the y value. So 3 is actually -0.17. So if we were to draw a small little sketch, we can see that at point 3, or at point 2, the point would be somewhere around here, and at point 3 it would be somewhere around here. So we can clearly see that it crosses the x-axis, so then we know that between these 2 points is where y equals 0. Where y equals 0. So the way to write this question out is we look at the x values, so we know it has to be greater than 2 and less than 3 if we want it to be, because we know it's between 0.65 and -0.7. So greater than 2, less than 3. And there's our answer. So all in all, pretty simple to solve. We're going to do one more. We're going to do, I think we'll do D. Or, actually we're going to do one with a cube root, so we're going to do B. So because it's a cube root, the domain can equal anything really, because it doesn't matter if it's negative, so the domain is x is an element of the reals. X element of the reals. So we'll start with some points because we don't have, obviously, a place to start. 0, and we'll just start with 1. We'll do these for now, and I'll show you why I'm not going to go any farther in a few seconds. So 0 times 2 is 0 plus 1. Cube root of 1 is 1 plus 2, so that's 3. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 3. Cube root of 3 plus 2 is 3.44. Now the reason that I didn't go any farther is because we can see that this is an increase in the y values. So obviously we're going to be going farther away from a 0. Because we want to go towards a 0, we're going to go the opposite direction, because we know any more positive numbers are just going to keep giving us bigger y values. So let's try -2. And I would have tried -1, but I've already done this question before, so I'm going to use -2, -4, and -5. That's my points. So -2 times 2 is -4, plus 1 is -3. The cube root of -3 plus 2 is equal to 0.56. So now we know we're going in the right direction, because from 0 to -2, we have a decrease in y. -4 works out to 0.09, and -5 works out to -0.08. So for this one, we know very clearly where y equals 0. So we can see that this happens when we have a positive and a negative, one on top of the other. And all these would be positive, plus. So there we go. So now we know that the point has to be greater or less than -4 and greater than -5. So, greater than -5, less than -4. There. There's the answer. So that's what they're all like. Really simple. Find the domain. If it's a cube root, there will be no domain. The domain will be x element of the reals. Start plugging in points. Figuring out. You're trying to figure out where between what two x values the y value would equal 0. So where you have a plus and then a minus, and then you obviously where the 0 is will be between those 2 points, as shown here. All right, so thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. Bye.